So, that was Lesbian Vampire Killers. The fact you can't hear the music in the background will tell you this is take number 2, because I had to go and fucking calm down. Not so much the movie was terrible, because it is. It's the fact I have really got a bad fucking headache right now. So we're going to try and get through this as fast as possible. So if I do fly off the handle, it's because I'm a bit sleep deprived and I got a bad headache. So apologies in advance, everybody. Surprisingly, there are at least 2 positives I could find with this movie. The premise, I felt, could have worked. I know, it's a bit strange me saying that, but I felt this premise could have worked. I mean, when you think of the title, Lesbian Vampire Killers, right? What does that sound like to you? It actually sounds like a bonkers hentai series. Think about it. Lesbians who kill vampires. Sounds like a decent D-list hentai series that most people want to watch. But that's about it. And the only other thing I liked was the teleport effects. What I mean is like how the vampire would just turn into like a weird like mist or guff of smoke, sort of swish across the room and then they reform. It was actually a pretty good effect. You know, I actually liked that. Now I want to get into the complaints. First of all, the title. This title is fucking stupid. It sets up the wrong premise. The way the wording is used, Lesbian Vampire Killers, it makes it sound, like I said, it sounds like the premise of lesbians who kill vampires. I mean, the correct title would have been something like Kill Lesbian Vampires, you know? That would have been the better sense. And at least in America, when this was exported, they just dropped the first word and called it Vampire Killers. Probably in a PC attempt, but actually in a better taste attempt, if you ask me. So anyway, our main hero, who was played by Matthew Horn, Jimmy, he's not so much a Simon Belmont, but more of a Sadact Bellend. Spends half the movie doing fuck all, and it's up to his retarded buddy Fletch, played by James Corden. He spends half the movie doing nothing, and his retarded friend does all the work. It goes without saying, this movie is not fucking funny. Well, okay, that's a lie, okay? For the main cinema audience, this is not funny, but if it could be funny if you're one of the following. If you're a chav, you are 12 years old, a horny 12-year-old, you're mentally retarded, or you're completely sexually deprived, or just all of the above. So that's half of Britain's population covered altogether. I think the better name for this movie would have been Nutser Zoo the movie. And that's really the only thing this movie gets right, appealing to the irritating and downright nauseating sense that is the lads culture. People aged between 20 to 30 obsessed with beer, tits, and football. Fuck you all, respectively. Which is kind of ironic when I mentioned, like the likes of Nuts and Zoo, for example. The girls in this movie are not really that sexy, with the one exception of maybe the lead female and one of the vampires, whose name absolutely escapes me right now, but I'm going to just be sad enough to look her up. One moment, please. I think her name was Vera Filatova. She was actually a pretty thing, but that's about it. The rest of them were just, if I had to scale on a 1 to 10, I'd say it's a 3.5. And what's also funny about this movie is, for a movie that is, like I said, appeals to the lowest common denominator in lads' culture, that talks about beer, titties, and boobs all the time, you see fully expressed... Wow, I gotta try that again, because I must be really tired. You see fully exposed breasts on screen for a grand total of 30 seconds. If this was an American abomination, you would be seeing boobs from start to finish. Another thing that is so tragic about this movie is it will never surprise you. You could set your watch by this movie. In fact, what's also funny, and I even mentioned this in the review I wrote for it, and if you want to see it, I will provide a link in the description. All the women in this movie, with the exception of the lead female, could wear a t-shirt that reads, "Hi, I get killed off at," and a little timer telling you when it happens. It's that fucking predictable. All the cliches, all the same scare tactics and everything, it's all here, but in a really low quality. Again, you have to appeal to the lowest common denominator here. It goes without saying, this movie is offensive to women everywhere. And I know what I'm going to hear for saying that. I'm going to get the typical chavvy audience this abomination appeals to saying, "Oh, I'm probably gay," or "I'm a feminist and feminists are evil." No, fuck you altogether. I have seen movies that depicts women in this manner, and it's 10 times funnier. If you would like an example, I can give you a really low-quality movie called Muffy the Vampire Slayer. Look it up yourselves. It is 10 times better than this beer-swilling farce. Yeah, I know it's a spoof of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but you know something? It's actually pretty funny in that regard. So I don't want to hear any whiny bullshit from chavvy losers who adore this farce. Go fuck yourselves. Also worth noting, this has some of the most wooden acting I've ever fucking seen. It's just, I can't say any more about it. It's just fucking wooden. I could be here all day talking about it, but this headache is really starting to kill, and I'm just going to start shooting through this a little bit quicker now. What did I think of the movie in general? It's about as scary as Timmy Mallet, and about as arousing as Ann Widicum. Seriously, go and look her up. I'll give you a minute, just go load up Google and look up Ann Widicum. I'll give you a minute. You're back? Yeah, that fucking ugly, isn't she? And it commits the unpardonable sin of including Saturday Night by Witfield in its soundtrack. I fucking hate that song. Everyone fucking hates that song. You could ask anyone from the UK and they'll tell you, yeah, I fucking hate that song. I know I'm not going to go too much into characters on this one, but I want to just say one thing right now, and you can quote me on this. Fletch represents everything I fucking detest about the UK. I like to think this country is more about fucking fat retards talking about beer, tits, and getting shit-faced every 3 seconds. It is a small minority of the UK that I cannot wait to see get exterminated during the Great Purge, also known as the Coalition Government. Cultural reference for the win. Plus, you know you're doing something wrong when you make Twilight look like a fucking masterpiece. Twilight! You know, that movie about vampires that sucks? 2 little nitpicks before we wrap this up. Ladies, here's a little thing for you. Simply adding the word ja to your speech does not make you sound Swedish. Watch. I am Swedish. Ja. Look how Swedish I am. Ja. See how it doesn't really work? And another thing, was the comic subtitles really fucking necessary? Really? Was it really necessary to throw in these fucking comic subtitles? I don't think so somehow. And finally, I think this is something we can all agree on. This movie wants to be Shaun of the Dead so bad, it hurts. Well, sorry kiddies, Shaun of the Dead is a fucking cult classic. It took a simple concept like the undead, threw in a romantic comedy twist onto it, and has been praised for its humour, its situation comedy, and its actors. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost sold that movie. The only thing James Corden and Matthew Horn do is come off as Shaun and Ed wannabes. Nothing more, nothing less. Can I recommend this movie to anyone? No. I can't, unless you're a chav who still thinks looking at titties 24/7 is the highlight of your day. But if you absolutely must, you can find this DVD very cheap as chips. This was a gift from Heavy Bass X, link to his channel in the description. It's probably on Netflix. This should be riff tracked, and I hope it is. We close this video with something for the ladies, and if you want to make video responses doing this, that would be fantastic. How to look like a lesbian vampire on screen. Ladies, take note. Step 1. Hold your hands up like this. Step 2. Make a face like you're taking a very angry shit on the toilet. And 3. Make noises like George Clooney's pleasuring your rabbit hole. And there you go. That's how you appear like a lesbian vampire. So, that concludes the reaction and review of Lesbian Vampire Killers. I hope I never have to see this again. And I must say, I'm doing a very, very good job of controlling my anger, despite how much this headache fucking hurts. I want to just point out I had this headache before we started watching, but now it's even worse. I'm now going to go outside and assault the first chav I find, so do look out for me on the 10 o'clock news, because you might just see me being arrested. I have been Random, take care, and I'll see you all in the near future. Peace.
have you back for the drum roll, please? 8 fucking times.
Yeah, right, mate. Fucking shag the bitch. Fucking yeah. Yeah, because saying the word fuck is so clever and it's so mature. Ooh, look out, I'm saying the word fuck. I'm an edgy movie.